All right, hi everyone. My name is Becca Marks, and I'm a graduate student in the nutrition department at the University of Tennessee. This presentation is centered on increasing participation within the Nourish Wellness program and was conducted by myself and my graduate school colleagues, Abigail Presnell and Caitlin. So just a quick overview of what this presentation will include. We will start off with acknowledgements of our community nutrition partners, followed by some background information on the project, our implementation goals and objectives, deliverables, our evaluation tool, and finally, a discussion of our results. Before we begin this presentation, we would like to give a big thank you to Michaela Juroff at Nourish Knoxville, Peyton Prothero with UTKB Well, Amber Ford at the Knox County Health Department, and Dr. Marsha Spence with the University of Tennessee Department of Nutrition for the endless support and dedication that they have given us during this time. So what is Nourish Knoxville? Nourish Knoxville is a nonprofit program that links local food to people in the Knoxville, Tennessee area, thereby cultivating healthy communities and supporting relationships between local farmers, producers, and the public. One of the ways Nourish Knoxville does this is by operating at the Market Square Farmers Market, the New Harvest Park Farmers Market, and the Winter Farmers Market. Nourish Knoxville hosts a multitude of programs, including Nourish Kids, Nourish Wellness, Nourish Moves, and Double Up East Tennessee. So the focus of this project was specifically on the Nourish Wellness program. Nourish Wellness partners with local Knoxville businesses to promote fresh fruit and vegetable consumption among their employees. 10 businesses were partnered with Nourish Wellness in 2021, most of which are located within 2 miles of downtown Knoxville. However, due to limited funds, Nourish Wellness has been limited to one participating business, which is the University of Tennessee Be Well organization, and this supports 50 employees during the 2022 market season. Program participants can visit the weekday Market Square or New Harvest Park Farmers Market, both of which host Nourish Wellness. Participating businesses pay for produce bucks to provide their employees with up to $25 of spending money at the weekday farmers market. These produce bucks can be spent on fresh fruits, vegetables, mushrooms, and food-producing plants at the market. A little background on our project. The importance of fruit and vegetable consumption stems from the federal guideline recommendation that US adults eat at least 1.5 to 2 cups per day of fruit and 2 to 3 cups per day of vegetables as part of a healthy diet. However, according to a study conducted in 2015, only 9% of adults met the intake recommendation for vegetables, and only 12% of adults met the recommendations for fruit. Furthermore, in a community assessment conducted by this team in the fall of 2021, survey participants reported visiting a farmer's market only 1 time per month. This was much lower than anticipated, and to further support the need of increased fruit and vegetable consumption, obesity rates continue to trend upward. Farmers market incentive programs show great promise in offering increased access to fresh fruit and vegetables, which in turn may help increase produce consumption. As previously stated, in the fall of 2021, we conducted a survey among program participants in order to identify barriers to attending the Nourish markets. And while an overwhelming majority stated that the Saturday markets were more convenient, we also discovered that there were inconsistencies in communication among employers and their employees in either informing them about the markets and when they were occurring, or just reminding them entirely about the markets. From that assessment data, we were able to create a priority list of needed improvements for the market. And while increasing the incentive amount for employers is listed as our #1 priority, increasing the produce bucks at this time was found to not be feasible due to limited funding. Therefore, we chose to focus on increasing education about the program in order to hopefully boost program participation. And now I will hand it off to my colleague, Abigail.
Thank you, Becca. Now let's get into our particular project. The goal of our project is to perfect the materials and communication methods among participating employees at a participating worksite to increase the rate of attendance to weekly Nourish markets and utilization of produce bucks. So let's dive a little bit into our project objectives. Our project lasted from February of this year, 2022, to April of this year, 2022. Our process objective was the creation of a social media post, along with an email newsletter, and both an information and an FAQ handout. Our evaluation was completed via a survey with a goal of 60% positive responses from participants assessing both understandability and visual appeal. Our first outcome objective was to increase awareness of Nourish Wellness with a produce bucks redemption rate meeting or exceeding at least 60% of participants by the end of the season. Our second outcome objective was to increase access and consumption of fruits and vegetables among participating employees with, again, a produce bucks redemption rate meeting or exceeding 60% of participants, with the assumption that those produce purchased by the participants were actually consumed. I again want to acknowledge our key partnerships that made this entire project possible. First off, Nourish Wellness, of course, is a key partnership to this project. Specifically, Michaela Juroff is the program coordinator at Nourish Wellness. She was a great preceptor and really helped coordinating, and especially as the markets have started launching, giving us feedback on how a lot of these handouts have been going. Next, Nourish Wellness has a formal partnership with Knox County Health Department. Specifically, Amber Ford has been a key partner in this project, not only supporting this project by promoting the program to employers through Knox County Health Department's East Tennessee Wellness Roundtable, which is a collaborative initiative to improve the well-being of Knoxville civilians, and really the primary source of selecting participating businesses. Ms. Ford also provided a key role in editing all of the creative materials that we designed for this project. Lastly, the University of Tennessee Be Well program, specifically Peyton Prothero, was our main coordinator who really helped coordinate all of the project materials through Nourish Wellness, along with Be Well. So let's dive into our deliverables that we designed throughout this project. So first off, we designed a social media post, and we utilized the software Canva. A lot of you may be aware of it, but if not, Canva is a graphic design software that is used to create social media posts, documents, presentations, and other visual content. And Nourish Knoxville utilizes an annual subscription to this platform already to make graphics and signage for their programs, really abiding by their intended branding guidelines. It really allows the program to look professional and gain more interaction with the Knoxville community. So we really wanted to stay on brand. So all of the deliverables that we created were designed around Nourish Knoxville's branding guidelines, including colors, fonts, graphics, different things like that. So our social media posts, we really wanted to promote Nourish Wellness and reach specifically the UTK staff with Be Well, which was our main program site for this market season. So you'll notice at the top of the social media post is a really grabby, enticing title to really get the audience's attention. There's then a little introduction to Nourish Knoxville. What is Nourish Wellness? What is the program? It also includes some key points of what are the key components of the program. And lastly, who to contact to sign up. Next, we have the Be Well March newsletter ad. So Be Well already has this monthly newsletter that they send out to their employees that have signed up through Be Well. So we really wanted to take advantage of that when we were creating our deliverables. So one thing we did was create an ad in the March newsletter to really promote Nourish Wellness and promote the upcoming market seasons. So you'll see here is a screenshot of that ad in those emailed March newsletter. This is one of the reasons why we really wanted to focus on UTB Well, as they have a lot of great communication methods already. So we really wanted to jump in on that and take advantage of that when reaching their participants to sign up. Next, we have the information handout. This is one of the bigger deliverables that we created for Nourish Wellness throughout this project. We again utilize the Canva graphic design software to design these handouts, really again in hopes to stay on brand and keep Nourish Wellness's deliverables very cohesive with their branding, color schemes, and graphics, etc. So these handouts will be sent to all participating employees upon signing up to give a brief overview of Nourish Wellness. It also helps to avoid any misinformation about dates, locations, produce bucks amounts, and even fruit and vegetable guidelines. So these will be sent via email directly from Michaela at Nourish to the participants' emails. And this is one thing that we have designed or really taken to heart our communication methods after the community assessment that was completed last fall by this team. Communication methods was one area that we kind of identified as a barrier. So we're hoping that by emailing straight from Michaela directly to the participants, that we can really avoid any of those barriers and get the best information and the best route possible. So looking further into this handout, you'll notice, again, a catchy title, those free produce bucks upon signing up. So we really want to grab the audience in and get them excited about Nourish Wellness. Under that, we have a quick description of what is Nourish Wellness and how they're partnering with businesses to create or to provide these produce bucks. You'll notice the different farmers market locations, addresses, dates, and times are all listed very clearly on the left-hand side. Again, just having an easy thing that participants can hang on their bulletin board, put beside their desk at work, and really have a quick visual for them to remember these dates and times. And then lastly, like I talked about on the bottom right-hand side, you'll see what the federal guidelines recommend in terms of fruit and vegetable consumption per day. So again, providing education to the participants and getting them excited to increase their fruit and vegetable consumption through these awesome produce bucks. Next, and lastly, we have our FAQ sheet that we designed. The FAQ sheet really serves to clarify many of the perceived barriers that were identified in last fall's community assessment. So if you think back to earlier in this presentation, that pie chart that Becca discussed of all of those key barriers that participants identified last year, we really wanted to focus on those things and make sure we provided clear answers to those frequently asked questions. So the FAQ sheet describes how participants, first of all, can in fact use their produce bucks at the Saturday market. That was a key barrier listed among participants. Also, the sheet promotes walking to the market. So where do I park, or parking issues was one of the barriers identified last year in the community assessment. So we really wanted to promote a positive spin on that. UTK campus is only a quick 15 or 20-minute walk to Market Square, which hosts the Wednesday Farmers Market. So by focusing on the benefits of sunshine, exercise, stepping away from your work for a mental break, we really wanted to change the perception among participants in hopes to encourage them to make it to those weekday markets during work hours, potentially on a lunch break. A couple of the other questions that we provided clarification on was where to check in at the farmers market, what they can purchase with the produce bucks, and also COVID-19 concerns. Again, focusing a positive spin, the weekday markets in general are less busy than the Saturday Market Square farmers market. So really focusing on the Wednesday and the Thursday farmers markets, which host Nourish Wellness among these working Knoxvillians. So we really wanted to promote visiting these weekday markets, which are less busy and more easy to spread out and social distance. And now I'm going to hand it off to Caitlin to talk a little bit more about our evaluation tool and our results and updates.
Okay, so next we're going to look at our evaluation tools. We used a survey that we adapted from BMC Ophthalmology, which assessed the understandability, the helpfulness, and the visual appeal of our created handouts. We sent it to last season's 12 active participants who were using our program and going to the markets, and we sent it to them via Planet Survey. Our goal was to get 60% of the responses to report the materials are understandable and helpful. So moving quickly to survey results, I just made a chart that showed all of the questions just to give an overview of how people answered. We used a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being extremely easy and 5 being extremely difficult. And as you can see, all of the averages were below 2. So we actually got really good response rates, and that was very exciting. I did want to note that we did have someone complete the survey that was unable to look at the educational materials and did respond with negative feedback because they could not see the educational materials, so that makes sense. But we did exclude them from this figure just because we didn't want to skew the data or anything. So looking more closely at the question of whether it was easy to read, because this aligned with our process objective, we were looking at the amount of positive responses, which our goal was to have 60%, and we actually had 87%, which was awesome. This means that they responded that it was extremely easy or slightly easy to read. So we exceeded our process objective goal by 27%, which was also very exciting. So as I said, the goal was met, which was awesome. Looking more closely at that, we did create the social media post, the newsletter, and the educational handouts, and then we were able to get positive responses on whether these educational handouts were understandable and had visual appeal. Unfortunately, we are not able to determine whether we hit the outcome objectives until the end of the market season, but we do know that 50 spots offered to the Nourish Wellness with the UTK Be Well filled up extremely quickly, so we're hoping this will lead to a higher turnout. And then we'll be able to see if we were able to increase the awareness of the program and in turn increase the access of fruits and vegetable and consumption of all of that. So this is just an overview of our logic model. It just analyzes the inputs, the outputs, and our outcomes or long-term goals, short-term goals that we were interested in completing with this project. And we just basically lived by this during our entire project to make sure we were on track to what our outcomes were. So looking at our long-term goals, we definitely want to combine programs with Wellness Wednesdays through UTKB Well. The farmers market's on Wednesdays, so it would be a great time to potentially have staff field trips or a good time to send out reminders. But we're very excited to see the combined programs between the two. And this also kind of contributes to our priority list from assessment data because we saw that people needed more reminders and promotion of the program to remember to go. We're also hoping to implement the program improvements at other Knoxville businesses. So if you can remember from last semester, we had a lot of business data from multiple businesses in Knoxville, but due to funding, we were only able to go through UTKB Well this year. But we're hoping when grant funding resumes, we're able to use these handouts and increase awareness about our program in the future. So just project updates, like I said, a max of 50 employees did sign up through the email advertisement, which was awesome. They signed up pretty fast, so it shows a lot of engagement already. 2 of those UTK employees did go to the new Harvest Market launch. That was a few weeks ago. While 2 isn't a huge turnout, they did also register for the Nourish Moves program, which is just a program that promotes exercise during the market and receives, and for a person who hits a certain amount of steps, they receive produce bucks for their steps. So we're already seeing high engagement of the participants who did come, which is really great. And we're hoping that when more people come, they'll also use our other programs as well. And then just working adjustments. So our strengths and limitations. Our strengths are definitely that we were able to receive active feedback from people who had participated in our program. It's real, it's applicable, and we were able to make a lot of changes to help people understand the program more. And we're already seeing higher engagement from the people that do come. For more and better communication, on the limitation side, we are still working on being able to send those promotions and reminders to people about the markets every Wednesday and Thursday just to increase that participation from our program users. So we're expected to see those numbers rise. And while it's a limitation right now, I think that Michaela and Peyton are both working on addressing the limitations and increasing our engagement overall. And these are our references. And if you guys have any questions, just let us know through email. And thank you for watching.